Hey everyone, welcome to GrayManPrepping. It is time here for Tactical Tuesday, and we're going to be covering not so much gear, but mainly tactics and more. But tonight's topic is vile things tend to survive. Now, Jay in the chat already here has mentioned that, oh, you're talking about vile people. Maybe. Of course, that's why I brought up these vile people here. But there's other vile things that don't have to go into SHTF or TEOTWAWKI for these vile things to give you problems. All right, so first let me jump over here, though, and say hi to everybody. And up here, so first one in was CP at Hugh Homestead. Next in was Mrs. Cornbread, then Gear Grinding 19, and then Jay came in the house. Oh, Jay, did you catch the video where I showed proof of life that the staff sergeant is alive and well? All right, let's see here. Uncle Al's in the house, and Rex versus Wolf Pinky Sat Maternity Studios. Hey Rex, how's it going? And CR's in the house, Creative Redundancy. And let's see who else is in here. Should be some more coming in here in a second. Tibor's here. Hey Tibor. And it's the Marshmallow Man. Mary Beth Smith is in the house. Okay, so what I was thinking about when I first came up with this topic several months ago. It's been on the list here, and of course I took several months hiatus from doing live streams here with all the crap I'm doing around here. It's just like this. I need 38 hours in a day to get stuff done. And all right, Jay. So if you look over on Camp Patton Family Compound, it's one of the ones about picking strawberries with a staff sergeant. All right. So I was thinking about this, and I was thinking about one of the things that where the vile people tend to survive are in novels and stuff. And 40 years ago now, almost, I got introduced to an author who actually became a friend of mine, and he wrote the Survivalist series, and he wrote several other books as well, and he wrote books with his wife, and that's Jerry Ahern. And you have to have a good guy. You got to have a good bad guy. And so there was all these vile people that would pop up as he defeated one, and another one would pop up, as time went on. And then and from him, I picked up on William Johnstone's The Ashes series, and both of these guys picked up probably the most vile of vile people. And that would be same thing as and I froze. Same thing as Leatherface here, cannibalism. And it seems like even in war-torn countries and stuff, some of the vile people survive. But then, so I was thinking about that for vile people, but there are other vile things which aren't people. And if you're a good prepper, you have a garden. And if you have a garden, you know what I mean. Noxious, vile weeds, goat heads, sandburrs. This one we call pigweed. It's got a different name for it. I grew up for 60 years before I found out what the other name was for this weed. But it's got sort of a scalloped leaf about that big around, a bunch of them, and it has a root that goes to China. And you hoe it off, and it comes back again. You spray it, and 6 weeks later it comes back again. And all right, so CR is out there watering, but yeah, there are weeds that are just absolutely not nauseous, keep coming back. Morning glory is one of them, or it's not as bad as goat heads, where it leaves these nasty seed pods around. You step on or hurt. But morning glory just chokes out your normal plants and get into everything. Hey, our cabin in the woods, how's it going? And then there's this other one. I can't remember what it's called. Someone just posted a on Life in Blackfoot about it. And it's like, it looks like, at first you look at the leaf and it looks like a grape plant, a grapevine, but it's a thinner vine, no fruit on it, and it grows up and it chokes out plants and stuff. And so that's another one of these vile weeds that just, won't go away. And then, of course, non-native species that are really invasive, such as here we have Russian broom, which is really bad. And of course, the one that's here in California, in Utah, Arizona, every place I've lived, star thistle. Oh, man. That is probably the worst, most obnoxious plant around. And it's just, nasty. So there are more vile things than just people. But the vile things in gardening, there's vile things in business, which people, but not the type of people that these guys are. They're just underhanded, mean stuff, and for some reason they get taken to court, and for some reason they always survive. Okay, our cabin with problem. All right. If you haven't checked out Suspicious Observers, I've talked about Ben Davidson. He's written academic books on the subject and everything else. Great guy, great information. He's been putting out 2 videos a day lately, the morning show and an afternoon video as well lately here. Good information. And the magnetic reversal, it's scientific fact. They found stones. They go, wait, all right, it's different than it was, and for what the magnetic field is now. So either someone went out there, dug up half this mountainside, turned it around, or I see, yeah, it flips, and how bad it's going to be when the magnetic field flips. Yeah, it's definitely going to screw up a lot of animal life. A lot of animals navigate by the magnetic poles. But yeah. Did I say? I think I said hi to Luce. It's the Marshmallow Man. But yeah, there are a lot of vile things to think about and to plan for. And so, if you're a good prepper, and just by being prepper is someone who just homesteader, gardener, you know what I'm talking about when it comes to vile weeds and stuff. That no matter what you can spray them, you can do this with them, and next year, they're right back out there, and sometimes in 6 weeks they're coming back. Yeah. Yeah, Stuart. Not trying to be vile, no fear. Yeah, just going to survive, get stuff going. All right. Oh, I need to change that banner down below here, and just to throw something else out here. My friend froze. Dave over at Southern Ohio Prepping came up with this one here. You can see it going across there now. Ape Nation, Advanced Prepared Engineers. I go, engineers, and not everybody's an engineer. He goes, if you're a prepper or a homesteader, you're engineering your garden, you're engineering your livestock, you're engineering stuff. So I go, all right, yeah. So welcome to the Ape Nation, folks. And for one of the things, I got to get going again. I got to get the channel membership going. But so here's my channel members here for GrayManPrepping. Alrighty, so But probably you're talking about people, vile people, probably taking from fiction again. Probably the most atypical or whatever, the best example of one, Hannibal Lecter. Oh man, that just gives me the creeps. Just thinking about that guy running around after SHTF. So let me get a more laid back. Get my office back here. There we go. So then. All right, Jay's making a funny. Will the magnetic field flip mess be doing tails instead of heads? No, basically it just means your compasses are going to be backwards. And actually, if you follow it, the movement over the last 200 years, it's moved a little, and it's expediting. And both the South and North Poles are moving towards the Indian Ocean. And when they meet, everything's supposed to go. And so whether or not it's going to cause catastrophe as far as physical things going on with the Earth and everything else, don't know. But yeah, it's one of those things. But it is, it will, because right now people, Courtney Flamethrower, yeah, because they know scientifically, although a lot of people trying to, we don't know that, no, that the magnetosphere affects our brains. Because what are our brains? Well, they're 82% water, and they're a big electrical computer, electrical circuits. And what affects electrical circuits? Magnetism. Now, I just realized that Santa Claus will no longer be living at the North Pole. It'll be the South Pole, Jay. So it's going to be just getting used to everything. Just, as far as the compass will still point. Well, okay, the sun still rises in the east, sets in the west, but north is now that way and south is that way. Hey, Prepper 101, how's it going? Sounds like my uncle. We used to swear my uncle's blood when they took tests on blood came out 95% Coors. But nope. 101, nope. Read backwards. Adjust 90 degrees. Yeah. But there is talk about that flip, which is the magnetic pole reversal. I'm not sure. That's just me. I'm not sure it's going to be that devastating to life, other than the fact it'll probably screw up the entire electrical grid. That will be devastating to life, especially 3 months in, and then 6 months in. Again, it's going to be another milestone marker, and depending when it happens, losing the electrical grid, wintertime is going to suck. That's when the big die-off will happen. But what does have me concerned is the 12,000 year cycle, which they're saying we're coming into, could happen anywhere within the next few years to the next 20 to 30 years, and that's the it seems that they go back and they have all these different excursions going back every 12,000 years. Check suspicious observers. Ben talks about this a lot. And basically what happens is the boundary layer between the crust and the mantle down below loosens up enough so that with the heavy ice packs go, oh, we're going to go to we're going to let the centrifugal force of Earth's rotation takes us 90 degrees to the side. But anyways, any time you get a real nasty major event, which we have not had in hundreds of years, that where it causes governments to collapse, and not just one government, but multiple governments to collapse, you're going to have people taking advantage of people. And these people taking advantage of people range anywhere from the opportunist who's going, oh, I can sell this for more, and I can really gouge people. I can do some profiteering here, to the person that's like, I can run wild, do whatever I want to anybody. I can turn into a cannibal and eat people, and it's no rules for me. And so it seems to be that some of the worst people tend to survive for some reason major bad catastrophes and stuff. And it's the good-hearted people that get trodden down and turned up dead, you know. Was it Colombia, Argentina, or Colombia, Peru? Some of the South American countries, some of the African countries where they had the coups and stuff going on, and then the good people wind up, you know, first ones that are sacrificed. Yeah, the crust slip, oceans move. And it depends how it's going to move as to how bad it is. But in any case, that moves. I think you can kiss all the power grids goodbye. You can kiss a lot of stuff goodbye. Yeah, exactly. And the what's the word? Declination between on a map when it was made out that this is where the North Pole was, and to find your way to, you know, each year the declination is getting worse and worse and worse. Oh, there will be good people in SHTF or TEOTWAWKI, but there are two types of good people. The ones wearing rose-colored glasses go, oh, we'll be good. We go out and help everybody. And, you know, they get taken advantage of. And the good people, they go, hey, sorry, we're hunkering down. We're going to take care of our own. And when things settle down, then we'll work on helping other people. Oh, Prepper 101. Oh. Yeah. Yeah, and Jay, for air travel, maybe flying over, you know, the North Pole magnetic pole stuff. Yeah, it can really, the variation really gets bad up in there the closer you get to it. We get to. Oh man, you guys are gonna stir it up. Prepper 101 and Jay, man. Yeah, the GPS things are getting reset. Some of them, and it's worse. You know, things are getting worse. But we're getting back to vile things that are going to tend to survive. There are other vile animals that survive anything. And if you're out there trying to be a hunter-gatherer, you got to watch out for certain vile animals. Here in North America, the black widow, the brown recluse, and I forget the name of the other spider, just went out of my head. That's what old age does to you. It seems those things, I mean, I kill off all the black widows at the house there in California. 8 weeks later, there's black widows back outside and stuff, and I got to kill them off again. And my wife was getting mad because all the spray I was using, so I went to a propane torch and just started burning the nests and everything else, killing. Hang on here. All right. If the pole flip, no, they're not moving. They're just going to be, polar bears will be at the north, and will be at the South Pole, and the penguins will be at the North Pole. Magnetic north, that is, not geographical north. So geographic north will still on maps and stuff will still be that, but you'll just find it using the south direction. Yeah, they have a big, nasty web there, Gear. One of the things that in several of the books I've read, though, is that for normal people, us, dealing with the vile people, there's going to, it's going to be a learning curve on dealing with regrets and realization of if you have to take a life. Now, that point, it is not good. Like Steve, of course, our trainer likes to say, it's not going to be, oh, we're in SHTF. We can, shoot anybody who comes on our property. We do anything we want to protect ourselves. It's depending on the severity of the event. Recovery will be something that most people are working towards. And while granted, national government will be one of the last things to be reestablished, local governments, communities, cities, counties, parishes, if you're in Louisiana, and so forth, will start being restored sooner than most people think. It may be like the Wild West. You have, you don't have the, state troopers coming in or anything else like that. You have a town marshal, a county sheriff, and you have, get people elected and stuff, and you try to operate. No, Jay, I'm not trying to kill Scarlett Johansson. And things will come back. So if you are in a situation where you have to use deadly force and say your cell phone or your cameras are still working, whatever type of cameras you have and stuff, try to keep it as legal as possible and document, hey, this guy was trying to kill me. This was all self-defense. Yeah. What is it that Ronald Reagan said? Was it the 8 or the 11 most feared words in the English language is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help. Well, it's 9. Yeah. Yeah. No. Hey, Howie, Food Forest Permaculture is in the house. And while I'm thinking of it, should have done it sooner. I'm going to pin this up here now. The link for coming up here on the panel. Those that have been around that have channels I'm following, been following me for years and stuff. Yeah. Hey, Ginger Ninja. Hey. And so, come help up here. There are, but no, all right, Katrina. I'm going to go back to Katrina because I had a lot of behind the scenes experience with Katrina. There was a lot of vile people acting on multiple levels, and the vileness went from like I started saying, the simple stuff, to, I'm not sure there's any cannibalism that we ever documented, but there was, robbing, raping, pillaging, plundering, and that going on. So, even with hurricanes, and then after the hurricane, some of the vilest in one category came out, and that's the fake contractors that were ripping people off left and right. So the vile people aren't necessarily those that are going to come up, steal your food, shoot you in the head, take your kids or whatever, your daughters or your sons or whatever away from you. But yeah, Superdome, that was a total stupidity part, and a whole nother level there. Yeah, when I went through the police academy, they said the same thing. If you can see drag marks where the guy dragged the guy back into the window, kind of ignore it. And Tammy's here from Rebel Canners. But you still want to act with decorum, with maintain your civility, your, what's the word I'm looking for, close to that. I can't think of the name of the word. It's on the tip of my tongue here. But basically, your good moral, ethical standards, even if it's in a dire disaster or whatever, don't give in to the base natures of no law, I can do whatever I want. No, maintain your higher standards. Do not become a vile thing yourself, because like this saying, one man's garbage is another man's treasure. One man's good behavior is another man's bad behavior. It can be viewed that way. So that's one of the things to think about if things go south. I'm going to change the banner up down below there, so that you don't become a vile thing as well, or in the eyes of others. Yeah. Don't give in to the dark side. Use the force. Hey, Aiden here. How's it going? All right, we are definitely multi-international now. We got Aiden here from across the pond. We got CR and Food Forest Permaculture from Canada. Yeah, integrity. Maintain your integrity, Suburban Hillbilly. Yeah, and they've also had several new scientific papers came out linking the plasma filament eruptions and CME ejections and stuff like that to an increasing weather patterns shortly after it happens. But did my clock stop? No, it looked like it stopped there for a minute. No, I checked my computer one. I have my big clock up on the thing going around. Of course it's got a battery in it, and when the battery gets slow, it starts to go up. It goes, second hand starts going tick tick tick, and it doesn't move. But yeah, there will be vile people that the only reason why you don't know much about them currently is because they know, hey, there's law and order, and all the cops will come after me. But when there's no, quote, law and order, when the rule of law has failed and things are collapsing, they'll do all sorts of nasty things because, hey, they think they can get away with it. Let's check in here. And so what do we got here? We got 14 watching and 14 thumbs up. Woo! Yeah. It's all this, here is food for thought for you guys to consider that if things do take that big, nasty dip into the realm of government collapse, and become whether it's going to be like a 2-year recovery for government, or whether it's going to be a 20-year recovery for governments. Yeah, I wasn't going to use the name Tibor, but there are some worse than the motorcycle group there. There's some other motorcycle groups that are far worse. But human traffickers, yeah, those guys are around now, but fortunately they don't roam as freely as they would in a bad situation. But then, if it's a total collapse of stuff, shipping's collapsed, everything else, they're going to like, oh, where do I ship these people to that all these girls I'm kidnapping? Hey, Suladine, how's it going? Holly weirdos, yeah, that too. But yeah, there's the saying, if you all have heard it, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Well, there's, along with that is perceived power corrupts. And if a person perceives they got total power, it corrupts them even more, even if they really don't have power, and they're going to wind up meeting someone who has more power than them. Yeah. Yeah. Jay, Steve, of course, they're trainers. Of course, everyone knows Steve used to work for the federal prison system. And some of those gangs, those type gangs make Hell's Angels look like choir boys. Yeah, there are a lot of them out there, and once the fabric of society has collapsed, all of a sudden they're going to like, whoo, we can do whatever we want. So those and it will, they will right off the bat start, hurting the good people. Because then, like, all right, go back to power grid. If the power grid goes down for more than 60 days, and we're talking the entire country, boom, recovery is going to be years. Because once, in 30 days, cities are going to be anarchy. Some people are going to get mad, and they'll see a transformer station, buy stuff, and they'll start, targeting them with violence, throwing Molotov cocktails and other stuff at the transfer stations and substations that aren't feeding their neighborhood. You need to work on mine. And so the repair crews are going to say, screw this. I ain't going to go out there unless I have protection. And then soon they're going to be like, I'm getting out of Dodge. I'm going to go somewhere else. Yes, they are. Yeah. Yeah, those are the ones. I wasn't going to name them, but yeah. MS-13, some of the other ones and stuff, but yeah. Yeah. And one of the things is, okay, how to say this without violating my non-disclosure. Okay, there are several studies out there, both government and non-government, dealing with worst case scenario of the populace surviving during certain events. And for the northern states and even some southern states, when the grid goes, if something happens bad, domino effect leads to grid going down. A lot of disasters will lead to the grid going down. And when the grid goes down, depending on when it goes down, what time of the year, the die-off will either be really bad, really quick, or it'll be a slow roll, and people have a chance to survive the first winter. Hey, Courtney, Fred's down. Good. So an example if the grid was to go down May, people that have gardens will be able to realize I need to plant more stuff, get more stuff going, need to work on stuff I can get growing where I can grow. And so they'll work on growing more food, to store more food, to try to get through the winter, even though the winter is still a half a year away or more, depending on their location. If it happens, say, Thanksgiving, ain't nobody planting a garden unless they're down in Florida. How the garden talks about because when it starts cooling down, Florida becomes more able to grow stuff because it's not so blasted hot down there. And so, like I said, some areas will be able to function, other areas won't. The die-off for a grid down in November or December is going to be in the 90% easily. One of the studies had it up as high as 94%. So, but if it happens in May, the die-off was only listed at 85% for some studies. Now I'm talking about, these are the worst case scenario studies. So there's and also what you're going to see is you're going to also see if it happens in May or so, especially if after in certain areas where farmers already have stuff in the field, and all of a sudden now they don't have fuel, but the crops are in the ground and their irrigation stuff is still working, and they're able to irrigate, they can't harvest. So there's going to be people that will be moving from cities out into the country, and the good people will be going to the farmer saying, do you need help harvesting crops? I want to come on as a manual labor for, so I can feed my family and I can work with you. And so that's where the survivability goes up. Where the death rate isn't up in the 90s, it drops down into the 80s, and maybe, if we're lucky, drops down into the high 70s. I think about that one. Yeah, but the thing is, though, I haven't had a chance to read the book, but it depends on when it happens. That's the thing on these studies and stuff. If it happens in the wintertime, it happens in the spring, it happens, where the food has been planted and stuff like that. And CR says, grow microgreens. Yes, you're going to learn to do indoor gardening. That's why I was doing that indoor gardening videos over on my other channel, showing how I could grow stuff during the wintertime indoors. Up here when it's snowing and we had the polar vortex hit us. But I still was able to grow some stuff indoors. And he's trying to come up. See if his internet connection is going. There he is. Hey, Lewis, how's it going? And it looks like he's frozen. Yeah, and that's one of the things too. Considerations was people heading south, because up here in the north, unless you're prepared for it being without the power grid there and stuff, you're going to be hard pressed. Now, one of the things that most people forget about, they go, "Oh, I got propane. I got a big tank of propane." Well, how are you going to refill that propane? You may have one of those big 1,000 or 2,000 gallon tanks, but how are you going to refill it? If the grid's down, there's going to be no more propane delivery. Well, I got natural gas. Natural gas is pumped by electric pumps. Think about that. Now, of course, I'm just now getting natural gas into the house here. I have wood burning stove, and I'm looking out the window here. I got probably about 5-6 years of. He's trying again. Let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, still buffering there, Lewis. So I got 5 years of firewood right out here easily. And the way some grows, the way some of these trees out on the backyard here grow, I will have I will have firewood ongoing. And then, of course, I got the trees across the way. Then we can just always plant more trees because, hey, we got gravity-fed irrigation water going through our property, both properties here. So, let's see here.
Working for farmers. I started working for farmers myself for food and stuff like that.
Yeah. I'm just looking at the side chat here. It froze on me. It didn't keep scrolling here. Yeah. But yeah, there's those that survive the first winter will be either A, well prepared to survive the second winter, or will be moving because they barely survived the first winter and they want to get to a more hospitable climate. But how you going to move is going to it's going to be hard, because remember, hey, if the grid is down, there's no gas being pumped. Now, granted, if you have some solar panels and some batteries and some 12-volt pump and stuff, you could probably go sneak around to some gas stations and, if they haven't been already siphoned out, drop a hose down in there and, pump it out, and hopefully you don't get bushwhacked while you're doing that, so you can, move around. But yeah, it's going to be really difficult. And then, of course, then you add to that just trying to survive, and then you got these vile people out there going, "Ooh, these people have a garden. Let's go take all. They must mean they have canned food and stuff. Let's go raid them."
Yeah, I seen a movie once where one of those end of the world movies about some disease or something, and they were going around like a big group of people or a group of people with a big fuel tanker siphoning gas out and stuff like that. And
I've seen several movies like that. Yeah. Some of them are B grade movies. The acting's actually very terrible and the direction's terrible, but the storyline could have been good. But all right, Suladin says deciding on solar on a solar backup, but then the cost of panels, it's like buying 2 generators. Problem is, generators got to have fuel to run. Unless you got a good water stream flowing through your thing to put a water turbine on your property, yeah, And Alcohol says no blade of grass is another. That's a movie, isn't it, Al?
Would you need any kind of thing for like a steam generator? Like if you had a wood stove and you got the steam, like put water on it?
To make a steam generator is not as easy as you think, and it takes a lot of maintenance. Example, when I got married, my father-in-law and mother-in-law were part of the Niles Canyon Railway, historic railway, down in running between Niles and Fremont, California. And so I love trains. I've had HO gauge, G scale trains since I was, shoot, I even had plastic trains when I was 6 or 7. So I've had trains all my life. And working, going down there and volunteering to help out down there, their probably most famous steam engine they have down there is the number 2 Quincy. Every 3 years, they strip the boiler and retube it, and it only runs on weekends. But steam engines are notoriously high maintenance engines. Yeah. Okay. WA, Don, how's it going? Don says wood gasification. Yes, and there are plenty of plans from back in the Depression era going into World War II, where fuel was being, you had to have a ration card to get fuel. But gasifiers, a lot of farmers gasifiers to run their farm tractors and trucks and stuff. Cameras caught 2 men stealing food off of someone's trees at 2 a.m. last night. And imagine what would happen if how bad it's going to be when the grocery stores are closed, because there's no power to run the grocery stores and no shipments of stuff coming in. Oh, yeah. There is, if anybody's interested in it, REO Speedwagon, not the band, the actual trucks. If you get some of the old trucks from back in the 30s and 40s, they are multi-fuel engines. They'll run on alcohol, diesel, gasoline, natural gas, propane, wood gas, gasification. Yeah, they'll run on just about any. Those things are big, bulky, bulletproof engines. If you get hold of one of those, yeah, you got something there. Good night, Howie. Thanks for coming by. Exactly. The only thing is that can help you on that is for the original cracking plants and stuff for making the fuel, they were steam powered, or they were water powered. They have water turbines and had the shaft going through running and making the electricity there to do the stuff. So yeah, there were different ways of doing stuff. Now, some of you, a lot of you out here probably know Scott with 1T at Hidden Valley Homestead. He's up in Bonner County and in the finger of Idaho, and he has water flowing through his property. He's totally off grid. He's added more solar panels to his arrays, upgraded his batteries. He's working on stuff. His big project, though, when he gets on it, is going to be damming the water coming through, so he can create a little pond or headwater there to run a water turbine, so that he has water hydroelectric power and not have to rely on the solar panels if the bloom goes up and there is no more buying solar panels and batteries to replace it later on. All right, Mrs. Cornbread, have a good evening. Good night, Stuart. Yeah, exactly. And of course, I've done several videos on live streams and other videos, posted videos on, how to improve your home security to prevent your door from just being kicked in easily. But yeah. That seems to be a general consensus of those that believe strongly in the pull flip, that it will cause problem the electrical grid and people's solar panel systems, especially those that are tied into the grid, could cause problems with it. Because here's the big problem about being tied into the grid system. If the grid goes down, guess what? Because there's no power in the grid system, it automatically shuts down your use of your solar panels, which means you're going to have to get out there, figure out how to hack into it and bypass the grid system to get your solar panel and battery wall working again so you can have power. Exactly, Tibor. There's too much to do. You get one person who is the blacksmith. You get another person who is the farrier. You get another person who is a leather worker. You get a couple people who are making cloth and stuff. You are, and the thing is, making clothing and stuff back into the cotton. Cotton wasn't king yet. It was using flax. Using the stuff from different grains and stuff to make and hemp, material to make the fibers and stuff to make cloth. Okay. Yes. Buckets of Legos. Doesn't have to be the red ones. The green ones blend in good with the lawn. And people, coming in and stuff. But yeah, Legos, cause problems with people. Tibor is causing trouble here. The Earth is flat. Well, yeah. Well, even though it's flat, if you have a pull on one and the other end for the magnetic field, it can still flip on a flat Earth. Think about it. But that's one of the things. There's just so many things to consider on protecting yourself from the vile things out there. I know Mama Bear prepping, all capitals letters on hers, talks about cameras and stuff all the time. Problem is, depending on what causes things, are your cameras going to keep working? If it's a grid down situation and your way of producing power is limited, it's like, okay, do I run the cameras at night, or I charge up the other stuff I need to have electricity for to keep refrigerators going, freezers going, whatever, CPAP machines going, medical equipment running, or do I watch cameras? And that's like Ben Gilmore, Minuteman Prep, says, over panel your system, because during the peak time when you can actually pull off more, even though it's limiting what's going into the batteries, you can pull more off the system to charge other things and to get other things going. Where's the moon going to? Moon, if you're talking about a flip, it's not going to go anywhere. But speaking of the moon, tonight is a super moon. We'll have 2 super moons in August. Tonight's the one, and I get from my news article I got is from California. So the moon will rise in San Diego at 8:20 Pacific daylight time. In Los Angeles at 8:27, and in San Francisco at 8:54. So California is kind of at an angle there on the West Coast. So you got a little bit different variance there, but also you got a variance difference from north to south to the position where it's at. It's all part of astronomy.
Yeah, I was watching when I first started watching prepping channels.
Mm-hmm.
This one guy, he said, when I'm in a perfect scenario, I got a quarter acre, right? But they were talking about bigger properties. But to set up like a fence if you can, like a high fence, obstacles, booby traps per se.
Yeah.
Or when people come, you know what I mean? And do stuff as warning systems or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. And, that's the thing too, is, looking for your area, where you're at, how far are you away from the cities, dictates how many people might try to get out to where you're at. The farther you're away, the better you're at. Agers and Bacon YouTube channel, they're out in the northern Nevada desert area, away from any days and days walking away from any big city. And in the desert, 99% of those people trying to walk across the desert don't have the right training, and they ain't going to get to where they're at. But they're also in an area where they got well water and stuff like that. So, pet king cobras for security. No, Jay, no. You want security? Plant plants like pyracantha, blackberries, boysenberry, the thorny berries and stuff. You get food off of it, plus it makes a barrier for people to come through. All right, Tammy, have a good night. Well, Tibor, actually, if the Earth's polar shift flips, it's not going to affect the moon, because the moon is out there, and actually the moon doesn't have a magnetic field on it, so it's not going to affect it, and it's not going to suddenly flip around itself. It's just going to stay there in its orbit, doing what it's doing. So it's not going to affect the moon at all. A polar flip here. Yeah. So now the moon getting hit by a big enough asteroid or whatever, or planetoid, where it hits it at an angle and causes it to start turning, that could do it. Yeah. Oh, and I picked up a come on, brain work, a Ryobi 12-inch battery-powered chainsaw. I got extra batteries for it and stuff, and a couple solar panels will recharge that up, keep those batteries recharged. So so that there will help on that too. I don't have to worry about gas going bad. If you're going to be storing gasoline, like Don suggests here, make sure you have gas treatment to preserve the gasoline so it doesn't turn into lacquer on you. Hey, Moon over Miami.
Yeah, fuel stabilizer.
Yeah, the moon affects tides, but it doesn't affect the moon doesn't affect the magnetic pole, the poles, and the poles and stuff don't affect the moon. Blasphemy. Hey, battery-powered chainsaws, actually are a lot quieter and draw less attention too. And if you get a bunch of batteries and stuff, they can last you for, for what you're cutting, can last you a lot longer. But then again, a good two-man, one of those two-man buck saws, and bow saws and axes and stuff. Don't need gas, don't need electricity, and you can get a lot of firewood that way. Plus, you get in shape.
Yeah, I recommend splitting in the winter if you need it.
Yeah. I read some crazy people say, "Oh, well, cause." Some crazy the pole shift will cause a flux in gravity because the Earth is actually oval. Well, the Earth is kind of because of its centrifugal force draws it out. It's wider across the equator than it is from pole to pole. So it's not round. It's kind of squished a little bit, but the pole shift will not affect gravity because gravity is dictated by mass, not by the the poles, not by the magnetic field. That does not dictate gravity. Gravity is done by mass. So that that wouldn't affect it at all. Gas stabilizer is good for 2 years. Now, what I want to know about gas stabilizer, I keep on forgetting to ask people about it. I haven't gone down to talk to the guys at the like Camping World and stuff like that. The stabilizer itself, before you put it into the gas or into the diesel, how long is that shelf stable, guys? How long is that shelf stable? Because if that stuff, as a stabilizer itself, okay, he's coming back in, trying. So that's something else to think about. The shelf stable stuff, the stabilizer for its shelf life before you can use it, is it one of those things that lasts for 5 years, 10 years? They don't know how long it lasts, but it just works on gas. When you add it to gasoline, it keeps the gasoline good for several years longer.
I can tell you, like my 2-stroke gas, like for my chainsaw, my weed eater, it has fuel stabilizer in it.
Yeah.
And I can tell you it lasts at least a year.
Yeah. 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 All righty. And we're over.
I get the stuff. Yeah.
Hang on here. Got to get something up here. There we go. And of course, I froze. All right, so we hit the 1 hour mark. It's time to kind of wrap this up here. Oh, hang on. Yeah, good moonshines is an alcohol, and if you have an engine that's made to run on alcohol. All right, so Friday, if on the homestead, the topic is going to be dealing with dirt and allergens. And talk both in the home and outside the home. So we're talking about that on Friday night on the homestead over on Camp Patton Family Compound. Monday on Camp Patton Family Compound on the Fireside chat, going to talk about garden water problems and some solutions for that. The next Tuesday here, we're going to be hitting it up again about food storage and what you're storing, what you shouldn't be storing, and how you should be storing it and handling it. So, and that topic is going to be store what you eat what you store. We're going to be going over that again. And I can't believe the number of people, a number of times I've talked about it. Uncle Al's talked about it. Other people, other channels have talked about store what you eat and eat what you store. People are going, well, can I just store anything? It's like, store what you eat. If you don't like beets, don't store a bunch of beets. If you don't like Brussels sprouts, don't store a bunch of Brussels sprouts. You know? Okay. Don't see an expiration date on my stabilizer bought last fall. Cool. All right, CR, see you later. All right, so that's what's coming up here. And hopefully, keep your fingers crossed, folks. On the 12th, the staff sergeant will be here on the 12th or 13th, Friday or Saturday. So hopefully I'll try to get her to come on Monday the 14th for the Fireside chat, and try to get her up in here on Tactical Tuesday on August 15th. And we'll see how things go on that. All right, folks. So thank you all for coming in here. And we're going to end it now. And remember, stay happy no matter what life throws at you. Stay safe. Don't go out and do anything foolish. Keep adding to your preps. Water, food, medicine, clothing, seeds. All right? See you guys around. Take care.
Have a good night.